my body becomes like a cement. Oh my God.
That was the better one. The song I can
Okay. Oh my God. It's like magic. Literally like magic.
When you do nothing, nothing happens. Best time to take action is now. This is the time to work on you and your business. So I've created a group, an online academy for professionals and entrepreneurs. Power Partners will help you to start helping yourself.
Helped me change my life and my business.
Not a Toastmasters, it's not a BNI, it's not any of these, but it is. So it's all this stuff in one place.
Get the results that you deserve right now. So what are you waiting for? Let's make it happen. See you in Power Partners.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you doing today?
It's a good morning. Good morning.
It is a good morning. It is a good morning. It's sunny, not warm, but sunny.
It's sun. Well, yeah. You know what? I'm not even going to complain.
I know
it's warm because it could be, especially in my neck of the woods, because I'm in Wisconsin. We go from 90 degrees to below zero in like.
Exactly. We dropped like 30 degrees in 2 days. Oh. We went from being in the high 80s to being like yesterday morning, it was 39 here. It's like,
yeah, wow.
Oh, yeah, it just absolutely dropped. So anyways, so how are you doing, Ms. Barbara? And welcome everyone to the Time to Shine Happiness Show. We are so excited to have you here. We're going to have a great show talking about why do adults stop dreaming?
Do they stop dreaming like in
They stop dreaming like as kids. We all knew what we wanted to be when we grew up. We were doctors and lawyers and astronauts and
everything. Yeah, we would.
And everything in between. Mm-hmm. But what happened? And where this came from was the other day I was listening to one of those I'll give them a plug, Above Inspiration on YouTube. And they just put out these wonderful videos. And one of them was, why do we stop dreaming? Because they do the research showed that kids up till the age of like 4, it's like everything is possible.
Yes. Yes.
There's no limits. Anything is possible. Everything comes out of their mouth, no matter what they're thinking. They have no filters.
Anything, yeah.
Out of the mouths of babes. They have no filters. So what happens is we get sucked into what's norm, what's the normal, what's accepted. And what it brought it to mind a little bit this morning, I'll tell. I was putting on my lip liner. Okay, I'm 73. You know, I'm 73 years old, and as I was putting on my lip liner, it came to mind something that happened to me when I was in grade 3. I was grade 3 or 4. I think it was grade 3. We were doing a project that we were going to make a film about on the Snow White and Seven Dwarfs. So all of us, they gave us all a picture and that we had to color. So we all got to color a picture, and then everybody of a scene in this film that was going to be on Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Well, I got to color Snow White.
Oh,
And
wow.
I was coloring her skirt.
Mhm.
Okay, grade 3. How old are you? I mean, you might not be the best colorer in the world. Anyways, so the teacher came along and said, Barbie, you're not doing this right. You have to outline the skirt and then color and make sure you don't go outside the box. I was devastated because I thought we were all supposed to be doing our own work, and she was telling me I was doing it wrong. What got me though this morning, I was putting on my lip liner and that memory came up.
See how that stuck with you? Yes.
How things from our childhood stick with us. And I think that is what happens to people. We get sucked into all the responsibilities and the obligations, as we get older. And have you ever said, I know I have, what is coming up so often that I hear people, oh, I just don't have the bandwidth to do anything else. Have you said that or heard anybody else say it?
Yeah. Well, I don't have time. I don't have the bandwidth. I don't have time. This is not, it's the list. I'm so busy. And, if I hear one, I'm so busy, I'm going to scream, Barbara. Yes. I'm definitely going to scream because I feel like when you put that out there in the universe like that, that you're already limiting yourself.
Exactly.
It's like a buzzword or something. It's like people or people say it for you. And that's what I don't like either. Yeah. Oh, Barbara, I know you're so busy, so I don't want to bother you with that. Okay, now you just close the door on some kind of opportunity that could have happened.
Right. No. Yeah. And a friend of mine said that to me one day was, oh, Barb, you're so busy. And I turned around and I looked at it and I said, you know what? It's not that I'm busy. I keep myself busy. But if something comes up that I want to do, I'll drop everything to go do it.
It depends on what it is. Yeah.
Depends. So always just offer. Yeah. And then if I can do it, great. If I can't, I'm going to tell you honestly, hey, you know what? I don't have the bandwidth for that. But at least offer. People are getting so used to hearing I'm busy or oh, you're so busy that they're stifling any future dreams.
Yeah. Yeah.
So one of the things that it's like we have to set a priority to set it's all in time management. Yeah. I mean, I'm the not totally great at time management, but I truly believe that if we set dream time, even if it's just 15 minutes a day, and then make it a priority to just sit and let your mind go wherever it wants to go. Even if you do set a timer, that is sometimes where I get the most absolutely inspired ideas of things to do and things to talk about. Because that was in
your dream. And you know what?
In my dream time.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but I mean, I was going to add, maybe to add to that when you're doing the dream, you're thinking about certain things you want to do. I think we need to add like what kind of resources that could go with that dream. Because I think sometimes that kind of stops us from the dream too. Because we're like, okay, I have this dream. I would like to do this, Well, no, because I don't have the resources for it, or this might but that's where people come in, places,
exactly.
To say, you know what, why not do this dream? But there's another person, Barbara Ellison, I'm using an example, that I can bring into this and see if she's available to do whatever that might go with your dream.
Right. Like, okay, like as a kid, I always wanted to be on TV. I thought it would be just a fun thing. And here we are all these years later because you called me and said, gee, you know what, Barb, I'm thinking of, would you like to do a show on happiness? I would love to do a show on happiness. And here we are. We're in our 4th year.
Mm-hmm.
And we are doing it and bringing on great guests like our guest that's coming on. But I think so much what happens to people too is they give in to the fear of failure. What if I try that and it fails?
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I'm sorry, people, but failure is just feedback. Just
Okay.
that's all it is. It's just a way of finding out that whatever it was that you were doing doesn't work. Go on to the next thing.
Yeah.
See, go to the next person. Oh, what do you have an idea for this? Whatever this is. It's like Thomas Edison. Thank God we've talked about him many times. Thank heavens he didn't quit.
I know, because we would have what's going on right now. We wouldn't have
what's going on right now.
Light and stuff. In fact, hopefully we have another inventor to come right behind them and do it.
Right.
If he didn't do it, if he gave up. So
to me, they're failures. Like it's feedback. It's just your opportunity to see it has like a learning tool.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that didn't work.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have to, it's a learning opportunity to either reach out to somebody else that you don't know. Oh, would you be interested in helping me with this? Number one, you make new friends. This is exactly what you did. And I am so grateful. You reached out to me and said, hey, you know what? What do you think? Oh, yeah. And here we are.
And it all happened with a networking thing that I kind of started years ago. Yep. And you came in and was this bright light, this ray of light that came in.
Oh, thank you.
And I mean that. You was and every time you came to the monthly, when you used to be able to come to the monthly ones, you always livened up the whole room. And that's why I kept saying, remember I told you, I said, there's something, Barbara. There's something here. I don't know what
don't know. We didn't know what it was.
I didn't know. I couldn't put my finger on it. But I knew I had to keep you. I had to keep your information. We had to keep connected. And then when I started seeing you online and doing your lives, because you were doing that consistently and stuff, I said, there's still something that I need to.
There's something there.
And we just created this. You created this show, which like you said, we always say the story. We got our story right, where I kind of was going to be like,
yeah. Oh, was when you told me that. I was like, you were going to leave me? And then it was like, yeah, no, you're not leaving me. And now you love it. It's because you love us.
I love the BBs. And people love the BBs because they say, oh, the BB show. I was like, wow, we're like a brand name.
We're a brand name.
So,
exactly.
And just to let people know, because, we need to tell, because I want me to tell a little bit about what you do too. That's part of, people understand what we do. So with me, I'm all about the visibility, making people show up.
Yeah.
What they do, they're genius. Some people be like, oh, are you a brand person? I said, well, if you want to call it a brand, I said, my biggest thing is to push you and move you in front of people, camera, whatever, how it happens. So as you know, a few weeks ago, we officially launched.
Yes.
I'm going to say we, because I look at us as a team, Barbara.
Right. Yep.
The Diamond Factor Network. It all started from one Facebook show that I created first. And then Time to Shine came in. Well, at that time was Happiness 101.
Happiness 101. We've come a long way.
And then I had some other people say, oh, I think I want to do a face. So it was starting to gather around. Yeah. But I always said, now this is going back to your dream thing now, Barbara, in a sense.
Right.
So I said, okay, how can I make this better?
Right.
Get to the next level.
Right.
So then I found E360 TV, a platform that basically you can put your show and they stream it to different other streaming, like Roku and stuff. So I said, ooh, more visibility. So that was in my head.
Visibility. Right.
So I brought in my show. Now, Time to Shine wasn't there just yet. We were still just doing our regular show every Tuesday. And then I said to myself, okay, I'm talking about visibility. I'm talking about we want to increase. Me and Barb been doing this for years at the time. let's bring the show under the umbrella. So 360 with this, we stayed on, and then I got approached. I'll never forget that day. I got approached, said, you got all these shows like dingling around here in E360. Have you ever thought about just having your own channel under us? I'm like, oh, that sounds kind of huge. Now that's where the fear came in. See?
Fear, exactly.
I want to be vulnerable here. That's where the fear came in. Like, oh no, that's like a whole nother level now. And I'm going to bring another show. I was like, I have content. I got my little 4 shows. I'm good. In my mind, I'm like, we're good. Yeah. Me and Barbara's good. Me and at that time, Barry was we were good with our little shows, right?
We were good.
But then the little voice, which to me is God, because we got fear of women, said, okay, you just said, Barbara, this is how God talks to me. Everybody has a different auto tone when it comes to God talking to me. My God was like, didn't you just say you want to increase visibility for people? Yeah. What are you doing? I mean, basically,
exactly.
You got opportunity here. Go for it. So I was like, okay. And then I think about it, you know what? Because if I go for it, I went thought about what you said. If you fail, what? You learn.
Yep. It's feedback. It's just okay. Well, maybe we need to tweak, or it gives you an opportunity to tweak.
Yeah. Or get more learning, or ask some people questions. I mean, there's always a way to strengthen it, right? And I did all that, Barbara. I did ask the questions to the president.
Yep.
I asked the question to other people that had shows. I did my research. I mean, I really wanted to make this work. Ever since God was like, "What are you doing?" So I was like, "Let me do what I need to do." And here we are now. We're on a whole nother level.
Officially a network.
Officially a network, which I have so many openings for people that want to do their own show and get their own visibility and increase their own level. So saying all that, did I have that dream way at the beginning? Yeah, it's but the possibility, and I kept going down that road with the possibility with that. And I'm not, like you said, I know you're in your 70s. I mean, every time you say your age, I'm like, I want to be you. I want to be you so bad with that. So I'm in my, late 50s now. And, so most people be like you said, up in that age group, like 50 and up or whatever. They're like, well, my time is done. I was going to keep doing what I do until whatever, retirement, all that kind of stuff. No. I just told you her age. I'm saying my age. And we're still dreamers.
Yes,
we're still dreamers.
Exactly.
Yes.
And there's so many more dreams out there, and more possibilities of dreams out there now. Mm-hmm. The opportunities, because we are on a platform that people can watch from around the world.
Yes.
Do not tell me that there's no opportunity here.
Thanks for technology.
Thank the Lord for technology. But I think what happens sometimes, people have they're socially conditioned to I can't do that. Yeah. Those are some of the worst things that people can ever say is, I can't do that. Or my other that I hate hearing is, I already know that.
Oh, see, don't get me started. That's another pet peeve of mine.
Pet peeve.
I want to
because when you do that, you close yourself off to learning.
I be wanting to battle people with that so bad. Barbara, I have to contain myself. So when we get together, because we are going to get together, we're going to finally get together like in person.
Yeah. It has been a while.
Look at me and say, Barbara, you're going to be okay. Just tap me on the shoulder. So you know that already. I'm like,
I think what happens is so many people, they have this big dream and then they tell someone who might not be the best person to tell because they have no vision.
It's just like
and so then they look at you and say, that's just unrealistic because they can't see it. So if somebody says that to you, turn around and look at them and say, says who? Says who? Who says it's on you? Who are they? What are they? I can remember growing up with them. Well, what are they going to say if you wear that? Who are they? Who Who are they?
You know, I always ask,
And
yeah, have we ever found out who are they, Barbara? I mean, you're right. Well, they're going to say that. They're going to say this way. Okay, let's get established. Who are they?
Who are they?
Because I'm tired of hearing them.
Right. Because you're going to have naysayers no matter what. So if you have the naysayers around you, been there, done that, bought the farm, have the t-shirt, you know, that kind of stuff. Find your tribe. Find the people like you and I now, we are part of this tribe that we want people out there having happy, healthy, debt-free, abundant lives and letting everybody in the world know that they have it through visibility.
Yes.
That's where you and I have meshed, because that's we have now got pretty much a common dream, because that is a dream to be happy, healthy, debt-free, and abundant. Well, but you and then tell everybody else how you got it. Oh wow. Let's get some visibility out there for people. And that's where we come in and we talk about it.
Yeah. I every time I hear, going back real quickly, because that pet peeve of mine too, when you said, "Oh, I know you already."
I know.
I'm always forever. I learned from a 5-year-old the other day. Now you'll laugh at this, and I know.
Oh yeah.
After this, we'll bring on our wonderful guest, our Queen Mary here. I learned from a 5-year-old. Now, I was basically going to the store. And that time it was like it was like last week, it was in the 80s.
Okay.
So it was kind of hot. And some of the bees and stuff were kind of still out, right? You know. So I'm walking in the door, and the door, when I walked in the door to the store, it stayed open. So, you know, I basically was because they have like stuff like in front before you walk in, but the door's still open. So the 5-year-old runs up to me. He said, "Shut the door." And I'm like, well, I'm not in control of that. I mean, she said, "Shut the door. Don't you see the bees are coming in?"
Yeah. Yeah, they have no filters.
Then I was like, well, he does have a point.
Yeah. Yeah. Just try to shut the door. Exactly.
So he didn't understand that, you know, it takes time, right?
It takes time.
In his mind, he's thinking bees in, doors open, you know?
Yep.
And he's looked at me like I had control over it. He's like, "Shut the door."
I know. And out of the mouths of babes. Kids say the darndest things. And you know what? The thing is, kids remember.
Yes.
I had this little girl a week ago, and she looked at me, and she, you know, and I wear bright lipstick. She said, "Oh," and how is she? I think she's 5. And she said to me, she said, "Oh, you have such pretty lips, and that's a pretty color." And I said, "Well, thank you so much." So that was last week or 2 weeks ago. Well, yesterday saw her again. Well, I had not replenished my lipstick. She looked right up at me and she said, "Where's your pretty lipstick? How come your lipstick's wearing off?" I laughed so hard. It was like, because from 2 weeks ago, I had told her that it was lipstick that stays on. Okay. Because when I eat it, it stays on. But you do have to replenish it sometime during the day just to put a little bit back on. But she said, "Where's your pretty lipstick?" I laughed so hard.
Serious, Barbara. It's like they don't.
It was so like, serious.
What is it? What's going on here? You know, I'm not used to this. You had the red lipstick on.
It rocked her world. And we don't realize the impact that we have on children.
And sometimes we don't realize they have the impact on us.
On
us. You have to replay and be like, wait, did this 5-year-old just, so you can't put them to the side, because a lot of times they're giving you more knowledge than adults sometimes, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
They really do. They teaching me some stuff. But that door needed to be, she need to make sure your red lipstick on. That little boy made that sure that door, because he was even trying to push it.
Yes, exactly.
But yeah, so we got to bring on our Queen Mary. Yeah. So
she's a sweetie.
Give us just a little take on who this wonderful queen is, and we're going to bring her up.
Well, we met on LinkedIn. However, we live not that far from each other, because she lives in the Chicagoland area too, and we have not having the bandwidth. We have tried 3 times to get together. Either I've had to reschedule or she has had to reschedule. But so now come next month, before the weather gets bad, we are determined that we are going to get together. And just because we've met online and we've had great conversations, but we haven't physically met. And so that's one of the things. But yeah, we talked, well-being, I love her title, that well-being coach. Because it is, we are, like, for me, I'm a transformational life trainer, but one of the things that I have added is wellness because it's your life and wellness. Yeah. And wellness comes in so many different aspects. You have your mental wellness, you have your physical wellness, but you have financial wellness. Well, okay, let's see which one you need to work on first, because you can't work on all of them. That's where bandwidth comes in. Can't work on all of them. But let's start. Let's just get you started, and then get visible with other people about how you did it. Wow. Because then that ripple effect from you starting with one thing from one of us will go around the world and come back to you tenfold.
Yes, love it. So absolutely. We're going to go to our sponsor, then we're going to bring up Mrs. Queen Mary, and let's get to meet her. I'm ready.
Absolutely.
Raise your hand if you've ever been busy. Raise your hand if you've ever got tired and feel like you just need a couple days off. Most people would have both hands up right now. That's our world, fast-paced and income-driven. That's why we get caught up in our own lives so often, and that's why it's understandable when most people don't focus on worries that aren't their own. So what makes someone become a humanitarian? Someone whose whole life focuses on the welfare of other humans.
When you go back and you see kids that were living on the streets, kids had no structure, they had no routine, people who had nothing, they didn't have meals. When you see that all of a sudden they're waking up, they have structure, they have something to do, they have a meal in their belly, their life changes completely. They like I said, their self-esteem changes, their self-worth, their ability to know who they are in the world and what they have the potential of becoming, to give that hope, to give that dream, and then to watch people actually use that to do good for themselves and others it's amazing. It becomes an addiction.
And with Serena's help, we'll find the meaning of life to a humanitarian.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning. Thank you for coming, Mary. How are you doing?
I am so fabulous, and I have enjoyed the catching up on your conversation up until now. There's so many passionate topics.
I know we work out of all.
I can't wait to see where this goes.
Well, Mary, it's nice to meet you, and I know any person that Barbara brings, I know they are just amazing. So, Mary, just welcome. And if you notice, I call the lady queen, so I'll be using queen throughout the conversation. Just to let you know.
I'm going to get one of those crowns.
You know what? I do have a tiara. Please hold.
No,
she got a tiara, Barbara. I need to get a tiara.
We're going to have to get one.
Here we go.
Look, okay, I need to get one. That's it. It's official. We have to get them.
Yes.
Now that we have a new network.
Yes.
We've graduated from a channel to a network. Yes.
I love it.
Oh my God, Mary. See, now you're making me jealous. I want it so bad.
Hey, by next week, Miss Barb, we have to have them.
Okay, that's on my priority list now. I need to give the tiara that Mary has.
I highly recommend it.
Yes. Well, you highly deserve it. So I just want to let you know. Wonderful. So let's get into the talk, Mary. So tell us a little bit about you before we kind of talk about some topics here.
Yeah, so I'll just start with what Barbara had started to say. I am a well-being coach, and I actually came to well-being through leadership. My first career was in public education, and I had this dream that I would be that educator that not only could teach kids with all kinds of disabilities. I was in special education, Let me rephrase that. I could teach kids regardless of what abilities or disabilities they had. And I wanted to create entire buildings and entire districts where every teacher felt confident, where they could teach whomever walked into their classroom and be confident knowing that they could do that. I burned out in that process. And what was interesting about that conversation that I had with my superintendent, right? He pulls me in one day and says, look, Mary, it's not what you're doing. He says, I would be doing exactly what you're doing, but what you're doing is not working. So you have to figure this out or you have to go. And I was like, what the hell? Right? Because everything that I was taught up until that point is you do the right things and you'll be rewarded. And here I'm being told you're doing the right things, but it's not working. So you probably have to go. And so when I went back to my desk after this conversation, I had a conversation with myself. And it's one of those, Barbara, you were talking earlier about the conversations with God and what's God saying to you. So when I went back to my desk and I was replaying these words in my head, and I finally asked myself, Mary, how are you contributing to the conflicts that are happening in this organization right now?
Good question.
That's a good question.
It was the first time I asked myself that question. And what came up for me was a framework that I'd learned in my master's program. And it's the Johari window. And it's really a basis of understanding our biases. But it came up for me. And so basically, there's part of you that you know and everybody else does too. But there's also part of you that you don't know and no one else does either. And so when that came up as the answer to the question, now let me also say, I'm the kind of person that can watch a movie last night and tomorrow I'm going to say, oh, I've never seen that movie before. Right. Right. Things like that just don't stick in my head. And so to have a very specific framework, and I knew the name of the framework pop up, said, this is important. And so, okay, so there's part of me that I don't know. My superintendent doesn't know because I believed he wanted me to be successful. That must be what's holding me back. And the next thing that I literally said out loud to myself was, I wish I had a coach. And when I heard myself say that, now this is about 12, 13 years ago, coaching wasn't what it is today. And I'm like, coaching, that's interesting. Let's Google that and see what that's about. And long story short, I decided at that point, oh my gosh, I can't be the only one who's gone down this road of doing the right things, not getting to the right results, burning out in the process. My health had been compromised. My relationships were compromised. And now my wealth is going to be compromised because I'm going to lose my job over this. That I thought, oh my gosh, I could be, because I'm experiencing this, I can be the coach that I wish that I had had. And so literally that afternoon, I said, okay, this is what I'm going to do next. I got to take this experience and use it to help others. And so I went into coaching, didn't know anything about building a business. I knew nothing about entrepreneurship, really kind of got hung up in that for a year, sat at home, just wondering what I was supposed to be doing, went back to work. Then I was coaching now for a company, school leadership teams here in the Chicago area. I had 4 high schools. It was voluntary to work with me. The 3 of the high schools said, yeah, sure, come on in. We'll take whatever you got. And the 4th one said, you know what? We got this. We'll call if we need you. 4 years later, the 3 schools that I worked with had made so much progress, they were no longer eligible for services. And the one school that said, we got this, was still in the lowest 5th percentile. Now, I'm not taking all of the credit for that, but I have to admit that my influence created some of these results. And so that was validating for me that I like coaching, I'm good at coaching, and I can help people get these kinds of results. And I wanted to do more of that, but now I'm getting laid off because we don't have nobody expected these schools to improve. And so there wasn't any market or, business development happening. And so it's like, congratulations, Mary, we're going to let you go. But again, as one door closes, another door opens. And so I'm on LinkedIn. I have no idea what I'm going to do next. Literally no idea, because I've tried this business thing before and it didn't work. And so I have a colleague I went to NLP training with, had a work anniversary. I simply acknowledged it. Hey, hope things are going well for you. And he came back like within 24 hours and said, are you ready to work with me now? And wow. He's the director of a transformational coaching company. And so I started coaching entrepreneurs. And in order to be able to do that, I had to learn their business model of how they build a business, because I wasn't coaching on the specifics of the model, but I had to understand the model that they were operating from, because I was working on more mindset pieces. What does this mean to you? And where's your motivation and those kinds of pieces. But now I'm also learning how to build a business while I'm also, again, confirming and building my skill set as a leadership coach.
Right. Because it all fits together.
Yeah.
It all fits together. We have to have the mindset, we have to have the physical well-being, and we need to have the finances.
Exactly.
It all, because that's when once people understand that they all three go together, that's when people thrive.
Right.
And isn't it just the most wonderful thing? And I know both of you are going to say the same thing. When you see the light bulb go on and you know that they get it.
Yes, that's like heaven. Yes, like ooh, yeah. The whole moment is like, but
it's that light bulb that they get it.
That with Mary, she, we were just talking about dreams earlier and how them. Mary, even through the doors closing and the thing that happened, talking about you're doing everything right, but you know, all that kind of stuff. You didn't let that stop you. Like, you know what? Okay. I got to figure it out. You heard the voice. You heard what you need to do. And you kept pushing. And the opportunity opened up for you because you were on that path. And I like that. That was awesome.
I didn't know it at the time. I was not conscious of it. I wasn't aware of it. I am now. So I can now use that intentionally. And I don't have to get stuck, right? I don't have to be in an experience that's painful to me to the extent that now it's painful in my body. I can recognize these things and feel into it. My thinking mind is what got in my way all the time. Like you were talking earlier about, well, as a leader, I thought I had to have all the answers. I had to have all the right answers. Right. And I think that's where my superintendent was saying, well, you're doing the right things, because I knew the right answers, and I'm a visionary, right? And so I can see the answer in action before anybody else is even aware that there's an answer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
But the other thing that I when I look back on that, it wasn't just that I was so much in my head and had to have the right answer, but the other piece is that I was holding on to a lot of emotional pain, a lot of trauma. And I thought that I could just keep that to myself. Like nobody else needs to know about this, right? It has nothing to do with my work, and because clearly I know the right answers. But what I really, again, looking back on it now, is that although I did have the answers that would give people that comfort, like, oh, okay, there's a vision. Okay, we can do this. But I was delivering all of that with a lot of probably anger energy, right? Frustration energy, because that's what I was feeling personally, right? This whole trauma piece, there was a lot of grief in there. There was a lot of anger in there. And I'm thinking, that's me. I'm just holding on to this. But you don't. It oozes out into every word you say, gesture you make, every eye roll that you make. All of that is coming through. And so now I can say, oh my gosh, no one, even though I was doing the right things, nobody could trust me, because energetically they're like, something's not right about this.
Right.
This doesn't feel right to me. It sounds right to me, but it doesn't feel right to me. And so that's
it's like you're not walking the talk. You're talking, but you're not doing you're not doing the walk.
Do as I say, not as I do.
As I do.
Yeah. And I think that for me, that's what I really came to appreciate about leadership is we're often taught to be that leader. Do as I say, not as I do. I'm going to learn how to lead you, but leave me out of it. I'm not held to these expectations. And that's really kind of how I got into this whole concept of well-being is through self-leadership. If I can't lead myself, lead my body, lead my mind, lead my spirit, let me rephrase that. The way I lead myself is how I'm going to lead others. Right. I'm leading myself by criticizing myself, by questioning myself, by challenging myself. That is what I'm going to do to others. But if I can lead myself with grace and compassion and win-win and looking for opportunities and trusting my intuition, That's the kind of leader I'm going to show up as.
Right.
But before I can be that, I have to become that.
Right.
Woo.
You know, and that,
You say what I always say. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I just wanted just to give her that woo, because I always say that. I said, I cannot sit there and say I'm going to be a visibility person or whatever I'm doing, and I'm not doing it myself. I am not just taking it in and showing up as that because I want to be a lead and that expert in that. I need to do it myself. Who am I to sit there and say, well, Barbara, Mary, you need to do this, and you can go back and look at me and say, well, Barbara, you don't have half the stuff that you're supposed to be doing. How are you going to tell me that? You know, or you didn't even try it, Barbara. You're really trying to do this with me. So I love that. I'm glad you mentioned that about being that leader within yourself.
Yeah. And one of the things that, you know, that I deal with in the question that I ask people is that, you know, like they'll tell me everything that they do, all those things that you were doing.
Yes.
Which is great. We have to do things. However, when I sit there and have them take a step back and say, okay, so who are you within that? And ladies, so often they'll look at me and go, I mean, they're like a deer in headlights.
Right. We don't know.
They have no idea.
Yeah.
You know, and that's why I've created my course. You know, it's called Beyond the Job. Who are you beyond the job? Because so many people equate who they are with what they do, their job title and their job description.
Yes.
And so we've got a whole generation.
Yeah, all the stories that come with that. If I see myself as a business person or an entrepreneur or whatever I label myself, I've got expectations. I've got stories about what that should look like.
What that should look like. That's a mic drop, people. That's a mic drop.
Yes.
What it should look like.
Yeah.
Says who?
That's right. Exactly.
That's becoming one of my favorite sayings now. Says who?
Yes.
Who are they?
Who are they again?
Because as long as I'm trying to shape my behaviors to meet expectations that are outside of me, I don't know who I am.
That's good.
Exactly.
You're right. So true. So true.
And
That's
so
why you got a tear on.
I think that, yeah, right. So what we've been taught is to look outside of ourselves. What's expected of ourselves? How do I shape myself into that? Because this is what I want. And instead, let's flip that script and say, who do I want to be?
Right.
Who do I want to be? And what would that feel like? And what would that look like? What would I be doing? Who would I be talking to? Then move out into that space. Now it's me driven. It's not externally driven. It's internally driven. You know, we're still going to have to explore and experiment and try things that don't work and see what does, probably surprise us, right? And be open to those unexpected little gifts that they're just dropped on us all of the time. But if I'm trying to meet somebody else's expectations, I'm going to let those gifts go because it doesn't meet these expectations.
Because we don't see them as a gift.
No.
You don't even notice them.
We don't.
You don't even notice them.
You know, I saw something, I was watching a program on Guy, and I'm not going to remember which one it was, but the story was that when the ships came to the island when Christopher Columbus landed, the Native Americans who were living in that space literally could not see those ships coming until they were on the shore because they had no frame of reference for what this could be. Now, I don't know if I believe that or not 100%, but the point is, going back to what you were saying, Barbara, about we don't recognize it because it doesn't align with what we're looking for.
Right.
And if I'm looking for what other people expect, I'm going to miss all of these gifts that align with who I really want to be.
Ooh, that's powerful. So true. So true.
And I think that's how so many people right now are living their lives.
Yes.
Which is part of why this show is in existence.
Yes.
And still in existence.
I love it.
Because it's relevant.
And
more and more people want to live in the light. They've been in this darkness of oppression, of stress, of identity crisis. Who am I?
Right. And we just think that that's what we're supposed to be doing. I'm supposed to have this identity crisis. I'm never supposed to come up with an answer, right?
Right.
My body is supposed to decay as I get older. I'm supposed to have aches and pains. I don't know. Maybe, after you all are obviously baby boomer. Well, I don't know. Barbara, you might be kind of in that.
I'm a baby boomer.
Yeah, you're definitely a baby boomer. Yeah,
I just over.
Yeah, I think the Gen X, well, baby boomers also challenged the generation before. It's Gen X is challenging the baby boomers, and the millennials are challenging us. And I think that's what's supposed to happen, right? Every generation has an opportunity to see what they were taught and to discard the teachings that don't align with who we really are. And I think that's what we're seeing as collectively this evolution of humanity.
Yeah,
you're right. You're right. It's funny you said that, because I was just having a conversation with somebody who was in their 20s.
Okay.
And just yesterday I was interviewing them and a few other ladies, and I really was so happy to hear what she said. Now, she said she just turned 27. She has 4 children. She bought her first house when she was 21. She has a PhD now at 29 years old. And she said, Barbara, you know what helped me with getting through all that is listening to my elders. Really sitting down and listening to their stories and what they went through and what they dealt with and what they learned. And I sat there, I almost cried, because I said, do you know that you just gave me hope for the future young people in this world? Because most of the time it's always the opposite. Well, I know that. I don't need to hear what you got to say. I mean, it's just and the list goes on, right? So you're sitting there like, okay, I've been through that. Why don't you? I mean, you don't have to listen to everything I have to say, but why you got to go through the same bumps that I did? I'm just trying to tell you, don't go down that road, because it's not a good one. And she was just sitting there saying, but I listened to all of that. And she said 80% of it, I listened and did what they told me to do. And that's why I was able to buy a house at the age of 21. She said, that's why I'm financially stable right now at the age of 29. I mean, it was just boom. It just really was awesome to hear that from a person in their 20s and saying that they're listening to us to a certain extent. Yeah, powerful.
And one of the things, Mary, I just loved what you said, because I was listening to a thing on what's the newest generation?
Z, I think.
They're just coming into the workforce.
Yes.
And they've got all of these companies that are leading these young people the way that you were leading in your previous, before you woke up to the reality.
Yes.
And so now we've got this next generation that's coming into the workforce, and they're not being taught to know who they are. They're only taught to do what they do. This is what you're going to do. Don't act, and if you need help, well, you'll go find out the answer. Well, we have to lead them. We have to share with them, let them go within, because the answers are not out there. Some of them are, yes, absolutely. But most of the answers start in here.
Yeah.
And
the ones that really matter. Yeah.
The things that matter, that give you your life and your being and refreshes your soul. And I always say, it's like, I want your soul to sing.
Yeah.
And when your soul sings, everything else is okay, because you'll get through it.
That's right.
Rather than checking into drugs, alcohol, inappropriate behavior, whatever, or suicide, because they don't know how to make that transition. And we're out here to help them. I think that is one of the biggest things, that when you get people like us that we're talking about it, this is a necessity. It's becoming an epidemic of companies that are finally, hopefully, starting to realize that they have to deal with the person, not just the job.
I see that coming more and more, and as any kind of evolution, I see the resistance as well.
Oh, absolutely.
Just last week, I was at a webinar about conscious culture, and I'm like, this is really exciting. Like, this is something I've been passionate about since I did my doctorate. And so I was really excited to show up for this and see what is it that I can glean from this. And what I heard from the presenter, well, I kind of set him up for it. So one of the prompts was, how would you know that a conscious culture was in place. And I said, well, I think I would know by the way it felt. Now I'm a kinesthetic person, and I take in a lot of information about how do things feel.
Right.
Now, it must have just hit a nerve with this guy, because he jumped on that and he says, no, it's not about emotion. It's not about how you feel. We are over caring. We are over compassionate. And for the rest of the half hour, continuous examples about how over compassionate and over caring we are, and that we really just need to lay down the law and let people know what the expectations are and hold them to those expectations and move them out if they're not right. And I'm just thinking, holy crap, this is not in alignment with my definition of a conscious culture at
No, exactly.
at all. So, I mean, I don't have to, and then I'm going into my, well, Mary, do you have to be right about this? And it's like, I don't need to make this person wrong. I'm not naming this person, right? But it is a contrast for me, right? So this is, we learn through contrast. This is how I would not define a conscious culture. And I think that, if we think that kindness or caring means that we allow people to disregard themselves or dishonor themselves, that's not caring. We're labeling enabling as caring, and that's not what caring is. So maybe sometimes parts of this is the language that we're using, right? We're enabling. Let's say we're enabling versus we're caring for them, because that's not true. To care for them and say, these are our expectations, and here's why this is what we expect. So what is it that I can do for you to help you either meet these expectations? Or if you're saying, you know what, I realize now that these are not what I want to do, let me help you find a place where you can, right? A place that is going to be more in alignment with you. I think that is kindness. I think that is gracefulness. Meeting people where they are, understanding as an organization, this is where we are. And if there's not a match, nobody's right, nobody's wrong. It's just fit or not fit.
Not fit. Yeah. Wow. We're talking so much. I was like, our time. So that means we got to bring Mary back, right, Barbara?
We'll have to come again.
Well, this is so much fun.
This was really fun. And next time we really have to make sure we get you back on, because the conversation is amazing. People need to hear this. The tiara we got to get the tiara, so all three of us have and we have to match up here. So with that, Mary, thank you so much, lady. And Barbara, I want you to close out, but I want to make sure people get your information. So I just want to put it on the bottom here. Please reach out to this wonderful, wonderful queen, queen. And you see just the conversation we had. It's like, I want to get into her orbit. I want to get into her world quickly. So this is how you can reach her. And we will be on next week. But Barbara, you have to say what you have to say, lady. We're
on a mission to make happiness the norm rather than the exception, because I'm speaking to you, audience. You deserve to lead a happy, healthy, debt-free, and abundant life. You deserve it. And all you have to do is reach out and find out, if you don't have it, find out how to get it. And that's where we come in. Reach out. Coaching, see what you're looking for. Find what you're looking for. Be open to an opportunity. It's so important. It'll change your life.
Undoubtedly.
Yeah. Well, that said, that I'm not adding none to that, because that was beautiful. We'll just see you next Tuesday, and we'll get Mary back. So
I love it. Thank you so much, ladies. This has been so much fun.
Thanks, Mary, for coming.
All right. Bye-bye.